Evelyn Yang!
Thank you guys so much. I love the Yang Gang.
In her first television interview, she describes her businessman husband's decision to run for president.
And I thought to myself, this will pass. This is not.
Just a phase.
Yeah, and it was after the last election, and it seemed like he had a really bleak outlook of the future based on all the research he was doing.
Welcome back to the channel, Yang Gang. I have returned. It's been an eventful week for our president to come, Andrew Yang. And we finally got to hear from Evelyn Yang, who will be our first lady. Of course, Evelyn Yang looks like she's going to make a great first lady. Many of us have been wanting to hear from her. I had no idea that Evelyn would be so well spoken. And I think she's just going to do a tremendous job as a first lady. So we got to hear a little bit from her in this recent CNN sit down with both of her and Andrew. She just talks about, how this was something Andrew had to do. She thought it was a phase. She thought it would pass. It did not pass. When you're called to do something, sometimes it just doesn't go away. You have to get up and do something about it. And as a great wife, as what I believe will be a great first lady, she is supporting Andrew 100% on the trail with him. They talked about their family a little bit. Of course, we hear Andrew talk about the stigma and association with autism. How important it is. We have the conversation about that. And, as a country deal with that and the great special experiences autism children bring to us. It's quite interesting. I remember first moving into one of the neighborhoods, and I didn't really know anybody, but my neighbor across the street, they had a child who has autism. And she hadn't really spoken to anybody. As soon as I arrived in a neighborhood, I'm thinking she's a regular kid. She seemed like a regular kid to me. She speaks to me. And they were like, well, that's rare. She really doesn't speak to people. And so she must have took to me. But she was to me, just a normal, beautiful kid. And so that's how the world's going to, I think, deal with autism, with great people like Andrew Yang talking about it, helping us understand it a little better, and great people like Evelyn Yang who do the hard work of raising autism children, right? Is not compensated for it. But we're starting to reinvent and re-envision what we're going to have to class as work coming forward. And, let's face it, being a parent is one of the most important jobs in the world. Sure, she's not running for president, but what she's doing at home to allow Andrew to run and the tremendous support system it seems that she's giving him, I think is fantastic. So glad to finally hear from Evelyn Yang. Just been a great week for Andrew. Andrew made Newsweek, as many of you all know, and he's talking about automation. It's a very similar message to with the Newsweek cover and what we get here in Iowa, excuse me, which is talking about automation and talking about the dangers of automation to the future generations, to our futures, to the futures of our children, and the importance that we start to take the steps to deal with that right away. There is no reason to sit idle by and do nothing about this coming disaster that we know is coming. It's not about if, it's more of a question of when. And being an expert on something like super AI, quantum supremacy, things that we have no understanding of. Many of us have never wrote a computer code. We cannot really envision what we're up against. Now, Andrew Yang deals with people in Silicon Valley. He does have the opportunity to at least engage with experts on the subject. We do not. And how some of us dismiss ideas like the fourth industrial revolution just boggles my mind, right? It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I cannot reason, and I don't see how they can either, from a logical standpoint, how they don't see this as a coming doom of destruction. And what we've done in our government system, many of the policies we have deal with future happenings, right? Before the danger hits. We go off and we fight wars based on the idea that it's better to fight them abroad than fight them at home, right? So why should we approach artificial intelligence, robotics, any other way than that when we see the possible dangers and feel the effects of it now, even in the present day? So I think this is just common sense. I think it's logic. And I really don't think we should be in a debate about this or confused about this anymore. But Andrew's Newsweek cover looks awesome. He talks about that. They celebrate in Iowa during the time there. And, Andrew, when I was watching Andrew speak in Iowa, I can see that he's become he's pretty much there now, guys. He's become quite confident handling that stage. I remember when he first would be on the stage, it did kind of just feel like, here we're going to hear that $1,000 thing again, right? The freedom dividend. But now his message has come full circle with it. And the delivery of it sounds a great deal better and makes a lot more sense, right? And so just glad to see that. Glad to see that the amount of confidence he has in delivering the messages, it's come about quickly. I thought it'd take a little bit longer than this, but it's almost like Andrew just knows it's clicking on. It's almost like it's all planned out and he's clicking right on every interview that he needs to do it, right? That's what it seems like to me. Because when I seen him speak in Iowa, right, it was just his delivery I thought was great. I thought the confidence level he delivered it was awesome. And then, of course, the Don Lemon interview. Now I think it's become quite clear that with CNN speaks with Andrew Yang and many other mainstream news groups, as we could see, they're going to talk about the impeachment, right? And they're going to run to the ground. And I think that they're learning that Andrew Yang is correctly talking about how impeachment is not getting to the root of the problem. It's just feeding the monster that is Donald Trump and the attention to Donald Trump, which is taken away from important issues, right? And impeachment of Donald Trump. Now, we shouldn't have presidents committing crimes. That is true. Definitely it's going to come up in the debates. And I think it's going to be negative to Donald Trump. And that's a good thing. The Constitution does need to be uphill. But I think right now it's just a matter of what we're dealing with right now is a lot more important than can we just knock Donald Trump to the side so we can have more of the same politics over the next 2 terms that don't address the major issues in America. That's why no matter who becomes president, nothing really changes, right? Universal basic income or the freedom dividend will be the first significant major change in American politics, probably in its entire history. I believe Trump and Medicare, Trump using trumping, I think is the wrong word, but it will Trump, right? But many of the major issues we've had in America, I do believe the freedom dividend is going to directly and indirectly address them. So that's going to be great. But getting back to Don Lemon, he came with the same thing that many of these news groups do, and that's trying to make impeachment the focal point. And although Don Lemon agreed with Andrew Yang, he still tried to carry that agenda, because that's what they're hired to do, right? You know, they, I believe, have a script, of course, that they have to stay on. And I don't believe that they can get off that script, even if they want to. Right? So Don Lemon, he kept pushing that. But, you know, Don Lemon also tried to make the case like Andrew Yang is just a total long shot, not going to get it done, not going to get this stuff passed. And, you know, this is where the American people have to answer that, right? And we have to come in and decide that this is what we want and this is what we need to do. And we are doing that more now than ever, right? The transformation in American politics, I don't think has ever in its history been as dramatic as the last several years, right? You know, we're at the precipice now of where I think American people are going to make the right decision and the right choices, and to get Andrew Yang elected, right? Get us the freedom dividend. Let's change politics significantly for a change. Everybody's talked about change. Nobody's done it, right? Everybody talks about it's going to be better. It's never better for everybody. But this could significantly change things, right? And we just have to keep doing what we're doing. Andrew has to keep doing what he's doing. You know, it's getting thinning out, right? Beto O'Rourke just dropped out. Now Pete Buttigieg did something I was unexpected. I didn't see, and really I did see. You know, I've talked about, you know, Pete Buttigieg going to end up being the major obstacle in Andrew Yang's way, but he went up 18%, right? Because the reason he went up 18% because Biden went down, right? Because Biden's getting pushed out, like, you know, we all knew was going to happen. And so what remains is all old faces, all establishment faces. Bernie Sanders is in there, but much has it changed from Bernie Sanders' message from 2016. Elizabeth Warren's, she's going to drop out and fizzle away, I believe. She's going to do like Joe Biden here pretty soon. But then it's going to probably be down to Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang, because my idea is they want to see something fresh and new. For them, Pete Buttigieg is the safe bet, right? Pete Buttigieg isn't going to change anything, but he is the safe bet for them. The only thing my fear with Pete Buttigieg is if he sees Andrew Yang's gain on him and he really tries to push his own version of universal basic income, because that can happen. And my fear is if Pete Buttigieg does that, it's going to be this very skeleton-like idea of UBI where he doesn't really push it. We don't really get it. It's not going to be the focal point like what Andrew Yang's doing and has to do it because it's been the whole driving force behind his campaign. So I hope that doesn't happen, because I do think Andrew Yang is going to gain significantly. I think he's going to take all of Elizabeth Warren's push. He's going to end up taking Bernie's push, Biden's push, and I think him and Pete Buttigieg are going to be kind of in a tug of war together there. And that's kind of how I see this thing going down now. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Real quick, don't forget our project, BitcoinNYK.com. It is our own universal basic income project based on blockchain technology. We're having a lot of fun with it. A lot of people are starting to join us now using the Steem blockchain. And check us out. We have several videos about it on the channel here, so make sure you check it out. Come join us, come have fun with us. That's all I want to say in this video. If you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.